Hello everybody and welcome to bettercallsukan, a sports podcast. It's a sports podcast with me, Arief Daniel, and my partner here,
Khal.
Okay Khal, bettercallsukan ni kita kena bagi tahulah kat orang every time, every episode yang this is a sport podcast yang kita sembang pasal sukan pelbagai-bagai jenis.
Betul.
And satu sukan tu kita boleh cakap pasal pelbagai-bagai jenis juga. Like contohnya sukan bola sepak, kita ada player, kita ada management, kita ada social media, kita ada kitman, photographer dan apa-apa semua.
Macam-macam.
Jadi hari ni kita nak sembang pasal bola sepak juga. Tapi dalam aspek apa kau? Cuba kau bagi tahulah kepada penonton-penonton kita pada hari ni.
Sekarang ni, sekarang ni kita dalam podcast kan. 20 tahun dulu, mana orang tahu pasal podcast?
Okay, yes, that is true.
That's true.
Okay.
Vlogging.
Oh,
pun tak tahu 20 years ago.
Okay.
This day during era digital, kita ada banyak macam-macam. So kita nak cakap pasal content creation.
Content creation dalam bola sepak ke dalam sukan?
Both bola sepak, sukan, macam-macam.
Alright.
So today kita pun dah jumpa kan dengan guest ni masa zaman lockdown di Clubhouse.
Yes, betul.
So welcome to the show, Sivan John from the Bola Bola show.
Thank you guys, such an honor to be here. I've been listening to your episode. I enjoy all the previous episode that you guys been doing, and it's been wonderful.
Thank you for coming. Alright, sebelum apa-apa lah Mr. Sivan, kita panggil Mr. Sivan Right?
You can call me Sivan, you can call me John, whichever you're comfortable.
Okay, why don't you tell us and the pendengar-pendengar and the penonton your sporting journey, personal sporting journey lah.
Sporting journey.
How do you get started with sports?
Sporting journey, you can categorize it into playing sports and watching sports. Alright, in terms of playing sports, of course it starts when I was in school. Many thanks to my uncle. My uncle was a budding footballer in Melaka back in the 80s.
Okay.
Football player?
Yeah, he was a sort of like a football player lah. But I don't think he played for state level, but he sort of like was kind of attached to the football scene in Melaka during the 80s.
Okay.
So what happened was one day coming back from school, I was only like 6 years old. At that time, maybe sports wasn't really my interest because I was still busy playing with my sort of omens, Thundercats, all those things lah. Sorry, kalau you grew up in the 80s, you tahu lah. Alright. But he wanted me to, sort of like be involved in sports, especially football because he's a football fan. So he was trying to educate me. So he made me sit down and watch this one game. And after watching the game, I realized, man, what am I doing? I have to start playing this game. I have to start getting involved in this game. Yeah.
And that game is
Argentina versus England, 86 World Cup.
Okay.
Patut lah pakai baju Argentina.
Was that the hand of God?
Hand of God, the goal of the century, semua lah. So, unfortunately for him, he was an England fan.
Okay.
I ended up falling in love with the team that knocked his team out. But cut short story, that's how I got involved in football and started to play in school, started to play with my friends mainly. And I did not had how do I say, I wasn't good enough to sort of like represent at a school state level. So it's mainly casual, playing with friends, whether in school or whether in your nearby Padang and all that. And not just football, but also have been playing other sports, badminton, also played rounders, basketball.
Rounders tu apa?
Rounders tu is sort of like, I don't know, it's more like, it's similar to baseball, but not as fast and aggressive as baseball lah.
Okay.
It's more like a friendly, casual version type of baseball lah.
You
I would think so lah.
in school?
No, just as friends.
I see, okay.
So yeah.
Continue.
So that's pretty much part of it. And watching sports, well, that you might need to have a whole episode by itself.
Okay, you cakap watching sport kan? Watching football ke watching different types of sports or whatever?
I mean, when I was growing up, especially in the Northeast era, when we started to have cable TV at home.
Yes.
Okay. So what happened is that because suddenly now you have all these different kind of sports available for me to watch. But even before that, whenever I open the newspaper, this is about me. When my father comes back from the market, he buys the newspaper. I will be the first to grab the paper.
And tengok belakang.
Tengok belakang.
Yeah.
Start from belakang. Depan tak kisah. I don't care what's going on in the front. I'm more important for me is the belakang.
Yes.
So we start about our local football, our local sports scene, then of course the international sports scene. So I used to read every single one of them.
Yes.
and try to understand, try to capture what's going on in all this world of sports. So names like Tiger Woods, Ernie Els,
Yes.
or names like David Coulthard, or
Yes.
names like Michael Schumacher, names like Jonah Lomu. All these names rings around me, and seeing what they do, and I'm always curious to know how good are these guys are. We know football because it's always readily available, tapi sukan lain kadang-kadang we don't really get that opportunity.
Yes.
So it's always when the moment we started to have cable TV, when we have all these different sports available, I think my entire 20s I spent a good chunk of my life doing nothing but watching sports on TV with my late father at home.
And also reading
Yes.
the back. Yeah, because kalau newspaper, because I also did that, Like aku akan baca, like it starts off with the local. First the paling belakang is like maybe the biggest story, and then there's a local punya cerita, and then like you said lah, different sports pun ada, but it's a very small
Very
article.
very small, yeah.
And I'll read it sampailah ke obituary pun aku baca.
I think I also do that.
Dia kan sampai kat, siapa meninggal ni kesian ni. Time tu aku akan baca lah, sampai ke situ. Yeah. So yeah, I did that also lah.
Now, one thing about reading the papers back in the day kan, macam kita tak tahu apa transfer story kan.
Yeah.
Especially masa kan baca satu paper kan, dekat tepi kan dia kata rumors of dah kan. Tapi sekarang ni you buka phone, dia dah tahu dah apa rumors ni kan. Tapi back then was more exciting lah, because satu hari kau macam fikir, satu hari macam kalau dapat player ni smart juga semua tu kan. Tapi sekarang ni macam they can true or false cepat.
Yeah.
You gotta remember there are two types of papers. The one in the morning and one comes in the afternoon. So usually
Afternoon also got?
ada some papers, some newspapers, basically the Malay Mail.
Okay.
They are always afternoon paper.
I see.
They come out always after lunch.
Okay.
So that newspaper, normally you get the latest news coming out from Europe that happened the night before. Macam all the 2-3 pagi punya game, or anything going around in the transfer market at that early hours, 5-6 in the morning, it normally will comes out in that news. Whereas in the morning news, it's a bit much more earlier lah.
Yes.
So you name it lah. When the paper comes home, I'm the first to grab it. Even before my father can read, I say no, I'm having it first. You go do something, have your breakfast or what? Let me finish the read. It's always been my routine lah to start the day lah, basically.
Yes. So you talk about watching on TV, reading it too. What was your watching it live experience?
Okay, in terms of watching it live, of course, here in Malaysia, probably the ones that I've done is watching football lah. Watching our domestic local game, whether it's our team. Like I remember going to 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙃 Stadium in the 90s to watch Selangor, back when 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙃 Stadium was like a football cathedral, because you had 70, almost close to 80,000 people coming to watch the games. Yeah, those were memorable experience. Yeah, so but other than that, there are other sports I've never really ventured much like watching live. On the venue itself lah.
Was there one particular sport that you really wanted to go but you couldn't, or had no interest to go, or had interest?
If I could have gone, probably I wanted to be there for the first ever F1 race in Malaysia.
Ooh.
I really wanted to be there because I felt this was history in the making.
Yes.
I know today's generation, they might think like F1, but for my generation back then, to have F1 here in Malaysia, it meant a big thing.
It is.
Because, we had the GOAT Schumacher, we had Mika Hakkinen. It was such a wonderful time lah, basically.
Yes. Okay, so from there, you dah tengok bola, you dah baca bola. Macam mana your journey to jadi like content creator? Is it jauh lagi ke?
Okay, for
How
that
far?
we need to go back to the 2006 World Cup.
Okay.
Back 2006 World Cup, blogging became like the first so-called internet trend. I think everybody was starting their own blogs and all that. And so ESPN SoccerNet, they had this thing whereby each representative country have a correspondent.
Yes.
A blogger correspondent from each of the representing country. So you have Argentina, they have one person, dedicated person to talk about the team, blog anything about the team, stuff that you probably may not be readily available in the English print, because a lot of these countries, apart from of course England, the consume level is a lot, but we do not know about Italy or South Korea, all those other non-speaking. So that's when I got to meet this journalist from Buenos Aires.
Oh.
And I started to follow his blog and started to comment, and he kind of liked the stuff that I comment. So once the World Cup is over, he decided to open his own blog.
Okay.
Because he realized there's an audience there that is eager to know about Argentina, something which was never available before. Sebelum ni memang nak kata dalam English kita cuma mungkin tahu bila dia announce squad ke atau player dia pergi ke Europe ke.
Yes,
But we do not know the other stuff that's going behind the scene. Benda macam like how we see with our Malaysian national team today.
Yes,
The drama, the coach, the interview, the press, all those stuff we do not know. So him being someone who's putting it out in English attracted a lot of audience, including myself. And he was impressed. He said, why don't you come on board and start writing for my blog?
Oh.
I'm first like macam not too sure about that. Being a commenter is one thing. Being a writer is like
another thing
lah kan. It's easy to eat someone who cooks the food and give your opinion about the taste. But when they throw the ingredient to you, ask you to cook, oh boy, it's a totally different ball game lah.
Yes.
So I gave a thought about it. So I said, yeah, okay, fine. I'll do this. So buat macam suka-suka lah. Start to write about how that basically just how you feel or what's your view, your perspective on certain things. You just put it in, and that became kind of like my new hobby from blogging. And then of course later on when social media, when Facebook, Twitter came in, what was known as macro blogging became known as micro blogging. Now orang tak nak dengar your cerita panjang-panjang. They want you to compress all your opinion in 114 characters in one single sentence.
Yes, that is true.
So that's when I started, and that's when I explore a bit more lah. I started to talk about not just stuff that I'm aware, but focus on the domestic game, focus on Malaysian football, focus on NBA, focus on a lot of other things. All of the other things that I've been watching all my life, but never took interest to talk or write about them. Because like I said, my watching sports life, there is a whole lot of story behind it. Every year kalau Super Bowl, I will not miss.
Okay.
Somehow or other, I will find a way to watch the game at home with my dad.
Nice.
Even one time, me and my friend, we watched Super Bowl dekat kedai mamak.
Oh,
Can you believe that? When we went to the mamak, guy say, what are you doing here? Ada bola ke? Ada bola. You want to see? Ini game apa ni? Yeah.
Cool.
So basically all this stuff lah. I talk about any kinds of sports that I'm good or I'm familiar. I can think about it. I will just start to express in my social media platforms and accounts. And that went on for a few years until 2016 when I noticed that long form writing has become sort of like the norm again. Sebab ada banyak macam website dekat Europe and UK were coming out. They were putting out articles by anyone who's freelancing or budding journalists. Because in UK, they have this thing called independent journalism.
Yes.
Whereby it's free from the mainstream. You are free to express your views, whatever you like. So I took upon to try to see if I can write some stories and submit in. And some of them, they liked it, they published it. And eventually from that, I realized, what, maybe it's time we can start something of our own. So one fine day when I was having drinks with my friends, I said, what, we every time sit together, talk a lot about football. Let's put into some kind of platform where we can create something.
Okay.
That's where the Bola Bola show started.
Oh, 2016 started?
No, it started in 2019, end of 2019.
But the idea was before that lah.
The idea was before that because over time, these 3 years, while I've been writing article, getting invited by people from UK, whether it's the Premier League fan zone or anything to do with the World Cup, because they know, you're a guy from Malaysia, you support this particular club, you have interest with this particular team, we want your view, we want your perspective. So when I get invited for their podcast or get invited for their YouTube videos, vlogging or anything, I realize, what, maybe it's time I can start something of my own. Let's see where this goes. Yeah, so that's how the Bola Bola show came to existence.
That's nice because segment 1 settle. Now we go to segment 2. How did the Bola Bola show start? You did mention briefly, but how? Between you and your 2 friends, correct?
Okay.
Okay, how?
Basically, we were having afternoon tea, and at that time, I just came back from Thailand.
Okay.
Because of my involvement in football writing and all that, I managed to get in touch with a few people who managed to give me a chance to go and be a part of the biggest fixture in Thai football, which is between Muangthong and Buriram.
Okay.
Which is called the 𝙒𝙊𝙍𝙍 lah.
Okay.
And while being involved in that, putting up my article for this website called These Football Times, I've contributed a few to them. In fact, I even wrote a very lengthy article on our legendary goalkeeper, the late 𝙒𝙊𝙍𝙍.
Oh, okay.
Because I realized like there's not much story about him. Let me take up this challenge, write something about him, put it out so that people, one, for Malaysian, they get to appreciate one of our legends, and for people who have not heard of him, it's something new. So once I came back, I also did a very simple vlog on my whole experience during the game, even during the post-match and all that. I said, we can actually do this. So I throw this idea to my friends, because whenever we duduk, cerita bola ni memang cannot separate us.
Yes, that's true.
Kalau ajak pergi kahwin kawan, sepatutnya your focus is on the bride and groom kan. Ini tak, sekejap aja.
Yes,
once we start adjusting ourselves side by side, this game happened, that thing happened. Dah lupakan dah siapa yang kahwin ke.
I remember
there's just a reason je to kumpulkan. A reason to meet up for you to talk about it.
I'm so sorry to interject, but aku ingat tu almost every World Cup kalau ada kahwin, sorry to my friends during your wedding masa time World Cup, bila dah settle jumpa semua tu kan, okay, duduk satu meja, siapa ada phone, kita stream game. Aduh. So you guys came out first. You guys did podcasting first.
First we did podcasting.
Okay.
Because that was the easiest form at that time lah. Of course we had other ideas, but unfortunately this thing called COVID, which nobody invited, decided to come into our life.
Okay.
And of course, every single plans we had for that year, we were really hoping that 2020 is going to be a great time for us lah. In fact, one of our first match day vlog that we were planning to do was between KL Rovers and JDT.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing you there.
Yeah, we actually interviewed the coach at that time, assistant coach, because we feel like we can actually give a team like KL Rovers some kind of exposure, because they are M3 team, a small club, not much of following, but maybe we can do something. Let's see if we can get them on board, talk a little bit about that. Everybody knows JDT. We don't have to. We don't even need, they don't need us, but team like KL Rovers could use a bit of help. And also we interviewed them, and we were hoping to attend that game. But 1 week before that, as we found out that it's going to be a it wasn't going to be a nationwide lockdown yet, but as we found out that the season was put on hold, all matches suspended. And then
I see you during that. I remember seeing you at one game in one of the stadiums. But anyway, continue on. Yeah.
Anyways, you're the one that you wanted to go to cover the FA Cup punya game. That was like the debut, or you guys have been doing for a year, just podcasting only, or that is debut for what?
We just started actually.
Just started?
Yeah, just started.
So you said 2019
the idea.
Basically was the idea.
The idea, yeah.
So 2020 is literally
early February 2020.
Early February 2020. Wow. Okay, maknanya memang tak sempat lah kan dia nak ni. Okay, so lockdown happen lah kan. Can you tell us your challenges, like how did you guys like, do you like aku give up ke, or like let's do something else ke? Because you wanna bring something like the Bola Bola show tu kan. So how do you wanna continue doing that Bola Bola show, tapi you guys just started it at that time?
Okay, podcast is not really much of a challenge because you can do it from remote.
Okay.
Itu tak ada masalah. Okay, because I was doing podcasting even in the 2000s with my friend from Buenos Aires, which we did our own podcast specifically on the Argentina national team. And he is there, I'm here, we had a guy from Canada, we had another guy from New York. It was done via Skype, easy recording and all that. So it's possible to do it from remote. Itu tak ada masalah.
Alright.
So we just said, you know what, since this is the situation right now, let's just focus on our podcast. Let's just see what what sort of topics, what sort of things that we can talk about. So we were very open. We were open book. We didn't have like a strategy like, oh, this is where we want to focus, this is what we want to do. No. You know, if one fine day I come across something like Kerteh FC, I say, oh, okay, this is look interesting. Let's get them on board. Send them a message to mana-mana social media ke, look guys, we came across you, we found out your team is quite interesting, you know, would you like to, you know, join us for a podcast? Okay, they are open to the idea. So we have an episode with them. And then one guy said, you know what, I used to, I'm an Inter Milan fan, you know, I want to talk about when Inter Milan, the glory days and all that. Okay, fine, you know, we can have an episode on that. So we were very open in terms of the topics. And then slowly what happened is that we had a LinkedIn account and we reached out to a few people and they were lukewarm to the idea of coming on board, wanting to be in our podcast. One fine example I can think of is Thomas Gronmark, who happened to be the Liverpool throw-in coach.
Throw-in coach.
Specifically, jurulatih dia untuk baling bola je.
Wow.
So we managed to get him on board. And so happened that year Liverpool won the Premier League title. The Premier League title, I mean basically their first Premier League lah, but won their first league title in after 30 years. So you know, it was just a perfect timing lah to have him on board, because a big part of Liverpool's success that year pun because of the improvement they had in their throw-in.
Wow.
A classic example tu goal yang masa dia score lawan Barcelona 2019 Champions League tu. So kita belajar lah, throw-in pun ada different cara dia, it can be done this way and all that, you know. So it was easy for us to get in touch with people. We also managed to get Peter Deru, who was the FAM technical director at that time. So he came on board. He was explaining, you know, what are things going behind the scene, which of course at that time, got to remember, Harimau Malaya was on a fantastic run before things started to go south. But at that time, you know, things were looking very fantastic.
Yes.
So he was behind the scenes. So he was explaining to us what are the process that was taking place, what they were doing. Yeah.
Okay, so this is Bola Bola show lah. All the podcasts, Bola Bola show.
So sorry to cut you, Arief. Macam what you said just now was very interesting. So you know, other than like your usual Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on and so forth, you use LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's impressive. For me aku macam impressive. So siapa-siapa kat luar tu, bukalah in LinkedIn account.
Actually, that I have to thank to one of my co-founder lah, Bala.
Okay.
Because he came up with the idea wanting to open LinkedIn, and I said, okay, fine, whatever helps, go ahead lah. Because he's more familiar with what LinkedIn is all about. At that time, honestly speaking, even I don't have a LinkedIn account.
Wait, to everyone out there yang tak tahu apa LinkedIn is like macam Facebook tapi for professionals, correct?
So through LinkedIn, actually, we managed to, you know, get in touch with so many people. So many people. Some, of course, I mean, because of their professional obligation, diorang macam tak boleh lah be a part of our podcast. So it's okay, fine lah. But at least we reached out to them. You know, we were quite glad that they responded. At least ada lah, responded daripada diam, tak cakap apa-apa kan. At least they responded and they were kind enough to say, you know, why they cannot be. And we were cool about that.
Okay, besides podcast, do you guys do still blogging, writing?
Yeah, we do.
So throughout the lockdown and everything, continue
Masa
writing?
lockdown, not much of vlogging.
Not vlogging lah, but writing.
We do write as and when if I have something I want to write, I use my Bola Bola show platform to write certain articles lah. Whatever I feel like I need to write, express things like how I was a bit dissatisfied that sports was never given the respect it deserved during the lockdown.
Traumatic flashback.
You said that you are open to all topics regarding on football, kan? So how do you create that all the time? I'm sure it is for us yang baru start, me and Khal pun baru start jadi podcaster ni pun is tough. So I'm sure yang Bola Bola show is until today pun ada the podcast punya semua tu. So how do you are open and how do you target your macam topics apa? How do you decide which topic suits this time and everything? Yeah, how do you your macam tactics and all lah, I don't know, cara you buat handle it. Yeah.
We basically, of course, during lockdown, because the football season kira dah tak ada lah.
Yes.
There was not much of, so you know, we can talk about things from the past, history or anything in the future kan. So we were all at home, so time was not really much of an issue. It's just basically trying to allocate that perfect timing so all of us can be together lah.
Digitally.
Digitally lah. Okay.
So that was 2020 kan. So then 2021 came. 21 came was a bit of a game changer because that's where like digitally we all met dekat Clubhouse. You know, was something like Clubhouse helped to accelerate what you incubate your trait as a bola bola punya host.
Yeah, it is, because you see, at the end of the day, Clubhouse is also a public speaking platform. So it helps in a way that when we do our podcast, we can able to speak to our guests a bit more comfortably lah. Tak adalah shy sangat ke, you know, we can be more comfortable to express, ask questions and all that, you know. And yeah, it does help.
Okay, so macam in that kan you have that experience betul, and then obviously macam you that podcast punya, obviously for those users out there macam apa podcast ni kan, so masa that time masa kita semua pisang kat rumah semua tu we were like apa nak buat kan, and then finally ada this one app where we just talk macam like podcast lah, we have like people coming in and out in the rooms and just talk about certain topics and so on and so forth kan. Lepas tu once things lah got a bit better, it kind of like fade away lah kan, Clubhouse. Tapi how crucial of it was that time to macam have that platform, you know, macam in your opinion, how crucial was it for you as a content creator to like still keep in touch with people and making another alternative?
For me, on a personal level lah, I mean, regardless whether it's the Bola Bola show or not it was very important because we needed to still be connected with our friends, with our fellow human beings on a certain topic, and the ability to the opportunity to do that kind of helped us to, you know, keep our feet on the ground, you know, give us that perspective that, you know, we are still okay, we are doing all right, we are not all alone, you know. So yeah, that aspect of it was very important to me, because if that wasn't there, being at home all the time when you have so much to say, you have so much you want to express, and you don't have that room, it can be a bit frustrating at times.
Yes. Alright, so after the lockdown, can you tell us how's your process journey till today?
Okay, after the lockdown, now that we can able to attend for games,
Yes.
so that's when we started to do a little bit more vlogging. Started to enjoy like going to watch the games, give our perspective, like, you know, what's going on the field, and so that took a bit more activity than podcasting lah. It's still there, the podcast is still there, as and when if we can find some time or some interesting topic to talk about, we will try to do a podcast. Like recently, as not sure whether you guys know that in Uruguay there is a club named Malaysia FC.
Yes.
So when,
Tell us about that. Tell us about that.
So when I saw the tweet going viral, I said, you know what, I should get in touch with these guys, see whether if they can come on board in our podcast, introduce themselves, you know, and let's learn a bit about how on earth they came up with this name and all that. So that was pretty interesting journey.
Okay.
We in fact, because of timing difference, I had to do that podcast with them on the morning of our first day Raya. On the first day Raya at the morning, because it was about night for them. I think they just finished their training or something. I just woke up 7 a.m. our time, so okay lah, just nice lah. I wake up after I told my wife, okay, let me do this podcast first, and then we can start going jalan-jalan, jumpa kawan, visit Raya lah. Just nice lah. So when I got in touch with them, they were very overwhelmed by the fact that somebody from Malaysia reached out to them. They were really overwhelmed because you know, they did not anticipate this will happen. So I've asked them lah, macam mana, why Malaysia? So one of the things they said is because each team in their community had to pick something like a country name. So they picked Malaysia because we hosted the 97 FIFA World Youth Cup, in which Uruguay finished runners-up. Yang tak tahu, that is the World Cup whereby Lionel Scaloni, Pablo Aimar, Walter Samuel, all the current Argentina national team coaching staff yang baru menang Piala Dunia were there, but they were players at that time.
Yes.
So because Uruguay had a great tournament, it's still widely talked about in Uruguay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, even though after so many years, when the fact that even here in Malaysia pun ramai tak tahu
Yes,
that we actually hosted a
Ah.
FIFA event, FIFA level punya event. But so when they told me this, I was like, wow, you guys still remember even after so many years. So that was the reason why they decided to pick the name.
Ah.
Yeah, and they managed to get the flag order online. So you can
Nice.
see they are quite proud of the name. They're proud of the flag. I'm like, wow, this is very overwhelming. So hopefully, if in the future, mana dah tahu, we can get them on board, because they are more like they're not even a professional team. They are just like a grassroots level team. Maybe can come here have a friendly with PBS.
Kan. Boleh tu. Style weh. Kalau
Okay, you that is one. Is that the one of the memorable times that you
did the show.
did the show, or you had different other memorable stories that
Honestly,
you want to share? Any podcast ke, vlog ke, apa ke, if you want to share other than that?
Banyak. Honestly, if I can summarize, if I can pick a few that I can think of course, our 2 podcasts that we did with Mr. Lim Tiong Kim is yang dengar will tahu lah.
Yes.
Yeah, that one really, like, it can be as fiery, as hangat as possible.
Okay.
But with a lot of, how do I put it,
Facts.
facts and quite important inputs lah.
Yes.
It's depending on how people take it lah. So that conversation with him, and the other one that sometimes I look back with mixed feeling, happiness and sadness, is with the late 𝙒𝙊𝘾𝙄𝑼𝙇𝙎. So when we managed to get in touch with him, very obviously we all know that on TV he can split opinions, but when we spoke to him in person, and that's one of the things that I always look back in during all this interview, is how we reach out to them and we speak to them on a personal level. It's totally different than what we can perceive them when we see them on TV.
Yes.
Memang it's a totally different person. It's like, this is the person that I think everybody is trying to get to know, but I'm privileged that we managed to get to know this person. Yeah.
Mesti macam social media lah. But okay, before that, sorry Arief, apa yang kata, there's one part that I would really want to know, get your feedback. Masa time we had social distancing football, you know, we had to duduk kat stadium apa semua. That time you guys manage to do a blog?
We managed to do one game
How
just before it became lockdown again.
Okay.
To April 2021, when we went to watch KL versus JDT.
Okay.
Again, the game finished in a 1-1 draw. I think I met you in the stadium.
Yeah, I think it was that game. Yeah.
So that was our first time doing a vlogging on our Bola Bola show.
Okay.
I just bought a new camera. Okay lah, it was more like a fertile ground lah. Basically, we also like macam tak tahu what are we supposed to do. Then we just go lah, just be spontaneous, just be ourselves, just be cool about it. So that was the first time we actually did it, and we were quite excited. We wanted to do more, and then again lockdown.
Frustrating times. A lot of flashback.
I tertarik dengan yang you cakap, yang you podcast yang hangat tu. How did the audience
To be frank, it still remains our biggest hit in terms of downloading, in terms of views on YouTube, in terms of number of comments, because one, it also happened during the time when Malaysia national team unfortunately was going through a bad patch in Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
When the World Cup qualifier will resume.
Okay.
So memang lah. So I had to control I had to even control some of the comments, because I mean, even though I don't want to restrict people from having their views, but if I see things that getting a little bit out of hand, I said no. I have to block, I have to delete, because we don't want all that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of all that in others. Here, we are just trying to keep things as clean as possible. That's one of the aim that we're trying to do lah.
Inilah kita masuk terus ke segmen 3, which is, yes, that is the way yang you cakap paling the most hit, the most everything, but it also comes with challenge. So other than that, is there any other challenges that you guys Bola Bola show faced, and how do you guys overcome it?
Obviously now with things are getting back to normality,
Yes.
bear in mind, this is not our full time. We are just Bola Bola show was just a pet project that we started among ourselves, among 3 of us, myself, my friend Bala and Elwin,
Okay.
just for the sake of finding a way that we can stay connected to the game. Because we love the game so much. We are football fans. We love football.
Yes. Kalau nak masuk cerita live what?
Lifelong love the game.
Yes. So, but we are not players. Definitely, we're not coaches. We are not, good enough to be commentators. But we're still fans.
Yes.
We still have a voice. So, let's do something. Just use this free platform available and do something. Let's see what we can do. And so it's just a part-time project of ours of seeing how we can try to keep connect and still be associated with the game. So obviously, lockdown, when when not much activities, we had all the time. But now when things are picking up, things are going back to normality, of course, our professional life has become more demanding than ever.
Yes.
So, time is a big challenge for us nowadays and trying to get together and do stuff. But as and whenever possible, we will try to do something. So, lucky for me, I got a wife who is a KL fan.
Okay.
So, whenever there's a KL game, being the good husband, I have to be there lah. So while I'm there, just vlog lah. Just do some vlogging, talk about what's going on, talk about this goal, whether was it an offside, just give your perspective lah of the game.
So setakat ni there's no like a big like challenge yang macam ada orang datang, oh korang ni don't have lah.
Good thing is so far we do not feel that we are a threat to anybody, and we don't want that, because to me at the end of the day, it's a free platform. It's free for anybody. If anybody has a different perspective, we can only encourage them, take up the opportunity, and do it yourself also.
Korang buat lah. Korang cakap banyak, korang buat lah. Tapi jangan tak dengar kita orang, jangan tutup terus
Because one of the things that I'm passionate, from music perspective, punk is my favorite genre.
Okay.
Alright. And in punk, there's this ethos called DIY. Do it yourself. That punk spirit is in me in almost every aspect.
Patut lah.
So when the Bola Bola show is a very punk rock thing. Do it yourself. Don't wait for others, because nobody's going to open the door for you. It's okay. We smash the door, we go in, we grab it for ourselves.
Yeah.
That's what we did. Yeah.
Style.
So that's how he keeps himself motivated lah, basically. Okay. It's good that you keep yourself motivated by doing like that. And then terima kasih dekat your wife pun ada another reason. Shout out juga function lah. Like kalau lah you kan sembang pasal bola je. You guys speak about bola. Yes, it is bola ni in a year dia ada off seasons there and all. So do you guys stop, or do you guys like do different sports, take a different sport, or focus on football? How do you keep it going?
At the moment, we have not yet ventured into different sports. Not yet lah.
Okay, so off season macam mana?
So off season, the football is to me is all year round. The game may be played for certain part of the season, but bear in mind, dunia bola sepak ini is not always ikut cara Europe.
Yes.
While Europe is off season, in Asia, like our Liga M is still ongoing.
Yes.
And then even when our Liga M is tengah resting, other parts of the world, some league is still ongoing. So football to me is all year round, and there's plenty of abundance thing to talk about. Besides, you can talk about transfer, you can talk about coaching, or you can even talk about grassroots like the one I did with Khal, one episode. Yeah. So there's plenty to talk about. You don't have to worry about, just because it's off season, what do we do now? No, you don't have to worry about that.
I mean, here's an interesting question for you. Has done this change what you view on football?
Yeah, obviously. Changed a lot. Especially in the form of content creation. Because I look back at some of the early stuff that I used to do and compare to what I'm doing now. I mean, I've come a long way. And in fact, many of the websites that I used to contribute articles, they are what they call the editors. The people who vet through my article. The criticism sometimes can be a bit tak pedih lah.
Yeah, faham tu.
But I can see where they're coming from, because I'm writing as a form of a blogger. These guys are journalists. They're trying to create a website to build up their journalism career. So even they're opening their platform to me, they have a certain expectation that I need to come to their level. But I take the criticism constructively,
of course,
and try my best, and try to get help as well, because you ask around, hey, what can I do? Can I do it like that? So there's always room for help. And when I look back at the stuff that I used to write 15 years ago and compare to now, whole lot of difference.
That is criticism, kan? I just want to ask you, is there any like compliment yang sampai today lah, like the one audience yang macam, anyone yang macam that keeps like you simpan lah sampai today?
Yes.
Dia ni ada cakap sampai ni, that can you share with us?
To be honest, to some degree, maybe us coming around the same time when COVID happened was kind of helpful to a lot of people.
Okay.
Because I did receive comments and messages saying that, thank you guys for doing this. At least we have something to listen to. We have something to keep our time occupied. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't see this coming. I mean, I did not see this part coming. And at first I was trying to realize, okay, that's a good compliment. But as time goes by, I realized, that those comments, those messages means a lot to them, because a lot of us were having mental problem, being at home and all that.
Yes.
And having a podcast to occupy their time, listening to what we say and all that, keeping them entertained, keeping them sane. I guess that's one thing that I will never forget lah.
Yeah, listening to podcast ni, like time tu, personally lah, aku rasa macam dia kawan aku, but actually I don't really, tak pernah jumpa pun. Like, tak tahulah kalau podcast kita ni ada kawan kat luar, I'm your friend, reach me out. You can talk to me, that's okay. Okay, yeah. So for you, what is next? Like your journey, adakah you want to do more podcast, or you want to like combine with these people, or you want to do more vlogs, or
going outside Malaysia?
Yeah. What's your aim
2026
lah?
World Cup, Sivan?
Wow, I mean, the planning, those kind of things memang banyak lah. There's a lot that I can think of my head, but sometimes things happen that it can hold things back. For example, like November last year, I wanted to go to Jakarta. Okay. Because I've always been interested with Liga Bola Sepak Indonesia, dorang punya scene, and I wanted to attend the game. But unfortunately, the tragedy that took place and the league got stopped. I'm like, man, just as when we were trying to put one gear, this happens. But there are things beyond our control. So and then I come back and realize, let's not push things too far, because we don't want to get burned down or anything. Let's take things slow. Let's take things cool. After all, it's just a project. It's not really something that we want to benchmark ourselves between success and failure. As long as we have a platform, we can continue to do it. We'll just do it. So I'm hopefully this year, I want to be able to attend more games outside of Klang Valley if possible. Because I want to be able to watch games in Ipoh, Alor, kalau boleh even like East Malaysia, and try to attend more games. And of course, when our time permits, we try to do more podcasts available, and at the same time, just keep the platform going.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's a very interesting question. The point, talk about longevity. It's like how you've been around social media. We've seen people come and go. Burn out cepat, naik cepat, turun cepat. People keep going, and so on and so forth. And what do you think is I won't say it's a secret for you, because like you guys are doing it out of the passion, apa semua kan. What do you think is the success of like longevity?
Success or longevity, as long the platform is there, is good enough for me. Rather than being shut down completely.
Walaupun satu view pun, at least it's there.
At least it's there, is good enough for me.
One listener pun at least there. Yeah,
because I've seen many platforms, many sort of brands that come and go, and it's sad to see that they are not there anymore. And when I find out why, number one is time challenge, the burnout factor and all that. Part of me feels like, if only there is some kind of way to remunerate these people for the work that they do, maybe that would have helped them to keep going. So hopefully we will not end up in that same circumstances lah. As long as there is something that we can continue, even though it's not as frequent, kalau ada tu, it's better lah.
Okay. Ni memang satu episod yang berbeza lah to me.
Of course.
Sebab kita yang guest kita ni dia ada podcast sendiri juga. Kita panggil dia untuk dia cerita pasal pengalamannya dia dalam podcast. Yeah? So,
dia macam meta sikit kan.
Kita sembang pasal podcast pula kan. Podcast, vlogging and all that lah. Kalau lah ada dekat luar sana yang macam dengar, maybe dia ada start and then dia stop sekejap, like you said, sayang, and maybe dia tak pernah start. how do you, what's the steps for them to, do you want to share, like macam if they want to start this, like tak kisahlah pasal sports ke, pasal bola ke, if they want to start doing podcasting ke, blogging ke, vlogging ke, do you have any advice?
Punk rock, just do it. Just do it.
DIY.
Betul
Just
lah.
do it. Don't hold back. Even, okay, you have to remember, things like YouTube is free. Podcasting also, you have, like Anchor is free. Social media is free. All this is a free available platform. If you want to record something, even you can have your mobile phone on, sitting at the table, cakap-cakap pun, you can record something. Editing software, there are a lot of free tools. There are a lot of free tools out there. Make use of them. And my suggestion is, you can start with, say, among your friends. Get together a few friends to talk. Because you guys definitely, sure duduk, sembang, kedai mamat. Sure dia bincang pasal bola. Sure dia cakap pasal bola.
Okay.
Maybe you can put that into documentation lah, like what I think about it. Like what I would say. In the form of recording or in the form of video. Just put it in. And just start going among your friends. Share it among your other friends. Share it among your family. Just keep it going. Because I think if you can do something, it's much better than you don't do it at all.
Okay, that's one lah. Tapi I've met some people in the past, macam like macam dia cakap, aku nak buat ni, aku nak buat tu, apa semua kan. But dia orang ada fear. Macam, I don't think ada orang akan dengar ke or whatever. How would you
Dekat-dekat sikit dengan mic.
how would you advise them?
My advice to them is,
Other than DIY.
don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of how people perceive you. Because you have to remember, everybody starts from somewhere. I wouldn't say when I started this, I was a full-time expert. No, not at all. Even I pun started in my early days. Even I also struggle to come up with ideas in my early days. But at least I give it a try. I keep pushing myself. And I always believe that, there's always room for improvement. And from my own personal journey pun, I'm still learning about improvement. I'm not 100% perfect in terms of what I do. Every now and then I'm learning something new, how to improve things. So the same advice I will give to them. Don't fear. Just go out there and do it.
Maknanya Khal, kita ni tak takut lah. Tak takut. Sebab kita baru start, kita
Jalan je.
Yes.
Jalan. I mean like, okay, so in that kan, macam that's one part, one component on the fear. Lepas tu another component is like dia punya self-doubt. Thinking of, one component on fear is like thinking about how others think of you. The other component is how do you think about yourself, your self-doubt. How do you advise that person yang macam has too much low confidence and self-doubt?
Buat je lah kan.
Buat je lah is one thing. Share it. If you don't want to share it through everybody, if you don't want to go publicly about it, just share it first among your friends and family. The people that you're comfortable with. Get their feedback, get their feel. That will be a good way to start lah. If the more you do it, the more practice, then when you start to build that confidence, that's it.
Because ada je orang yang macam like memang like as much as we like try to help that person, semua tu macam down kan. Tapi I think what Sivan kata tu betul. Macam you need to get to that build up to that confidence, comfort zone. Okay, itulah. So macam in that approach kan, you need to set goals and manage your own expectations. So how do you guys do that amongst yourself? Macam you set certain targets ke, atau you have your own macam KPI ke, atau just jalan je?
For us, just jalan je. Because at the end of the day, we always look back at our life for the past 20 over years. Football, we never set boundaries, never set expectation. Whenever we get together, we cerita, we cakap, we can spend hours and talk about it. So we took that same spirit with us with the Bola Bola show. Just jalan je.
Jalan dengan ikhlas. Style.
Aku nak masuk segmen 4 dah ni. Sebab aku tak sabar. Sebab ni yang aku nak tanya dia. Sebab dia punya
Clubhouse, club masa time Clubhouse kan.
Time tu aku tengah main, kita dah wrap up kita punya bola-bola. And kita nak tahu segmen 4 ni is kita nak kenal kita punya guest lah pada hari ni. Sebelum aku nak basically orang tahu like kita nak akan tanya what club do you support. Okay. So club yang dia support ni, masa aku dalam clubhouse yang dia punya gambar square tu, dia cakap je Sivan John ni, dia cakap a certain club tu, aku terus macam
jarang.
Jarang. Style. Dan time tu aku tanya dia, sebab time tu ada player Arsenal main untuk club tu. I'm sure if you don't remember, but I remember that.
Okay.
Okay, so
I remember that we had a few Arsenal players. Wheelock is one of them.
Betul.
The other name...
Saka and Emil Smith Rowe.
Yes. Emil Smith Rowe,
I
yeah.
asked how Emil Smith Rowe is. Okay, kita dah macam, mungkin orang macam, Emil Smith Rowe ada main kat mana? RB Leipzig ke dia suka? No. Okay.
Kalau dia RB Leipzig pakai baju aku.
So, Mr. Sivan John, can you tell pendengar-pendengar dan penonton-penonton over here, klub apa yang you support ni? Local, international kita dah tahu dah. And local. Local, international club apa?
The club is called Huddersfield Town.
Huddersfield Town.
Yes.
Kenapa Huddersfield Town ni?
Alright, okay. For those of you who don't know, the same uncle that we talked about earlier, he migrated to UK in 1989.
Okay.
But then 1 year later, we lost contact. And we lost contact for almost 20 over years.
Oh.
Yeah. So we managed to reconnect in 2009.
Okay.
And 2011, I took the opportunity to visit him lah. I thought, let me go there, visit him lah. My first flight overseas. Pergi sana, jumpa dia, enjoy a bit lah. Of course, we wanted to go and watch football lah. Dan negara diorang takkan tak nak pergi tengok bola kan. Rugi
kat UK
kalau
lagi,
pergi UK, kau buat apa? Tak tengok bola ya? Sure, kena tembak mana?
Okay, yes.
Takkan kata pergi medan pusat lah, itulah inilah. Of course, you know, football fans, what is that? Okay, so I said, no man, okay. Premier League fixture, unfortunately, susah sikit lah. Because either you're season ticket holder atau memang susah dapat tiket.
Of course.
So he said, why don't we go watch Huddersfield Town? I said, okay lah, I'm up for anything. So while watching the game, I realised this is the first time I'm watching a football game with him in a stadium.
Okay.
Oh.
That was the first time. The reason why I fall in love with football, and after so many years, we are here now watching a football game together with his son,
Style.
who is my cousin.
Okay.
So that moment was very touching. It was very deep. And even though it doesn't matter what's going on the field, it was more on the fact that at that time being present of these two people and I'm watching a game with them. So on the flight back to Malaysia, I never had a favourite club, to be honest. So
Before
far,
that?
tak pernah.
Okay.
Argentina je lah.
Argentina all the way lah.
Yeah, kalau layan pun okay lah, like Arsenal, you got layan, MU pun layan, you all. I mean, I respect these clubs lah. I respect all these football institution.
Okay.
Sebab diorang punya history, prestige is semua there. So I never really had a favourite club. So kalau pergi tengok game dengan kawan-kawan, I'm always the orang tengah lah.
Okay.
Between all
Neutral
their debate lah.
Hakim judge lah. Good mediator lah.
Kalau
contoh
neutral ni dia boleh jadi judge dan dia boleh batu api.
Probably my younger days more of a batu api pun. Sorry I have to admit it. But you know what they say lah, youth and wisdom don't go hand in hand all the time.
Okay, so yeah.
So that flight back home, I thinking to myself, you know what, I never really had a club. Maybe this time I can adopt this club. By the time pun belum serious lagi. Just suka-suka je lah. So when I came back to Malaysia, I started to follow the team. I started to, of course, nak tengok game tak adalah, memang tak ada peluang. Because that time they were playing in League 2.
League 2.
Okay, dia lah.
There's considered third tier. League 1. League 1 is the third tier. You have Premier League, you have Championship, you have League 1.
Yes.
Okay.
So memang no chance to watch game. Even live streaming pun, I don't think is available. And I started to follow their Twitter account, their Facebook, just to get in touch what's going on with the club, the results, scoreline, and I used to respond lah. And people wondering, wah, you pergi sekali je, you already become fan lah. I said, no, I'm just following a team, just trying to get a feel of them lah. So happened 9 months after my first game with them, they went to Wembley for the playoff.
Okay.
Against Sheffield United. And I remember I managed to find a link that was going to live stream the game.
Okay.
Petang tu pergi main futsal dengan kawan.
Okay.
I told my friend, look guys, you want to play, carry on, but I need to leave by this time because my game is this time, I'm going back home, okay? Diorang pun, well, what on earth is he talking about?
Game apa tu?
I said, okay, then I went back home, open my laptop, link the game, watching the game, went the penalty. Tengah gigit kuku lagi, like memang cu habis lah. Okay. Until the last kick when we won, I scream like nobody else. Everybody in the house got shocked, like what's going on? Huddersfield Town made it to the championship. I realized, you know what? This is it. This is a team that I'm going to follow from this moment onwards. So for those people who thought that when I said Huddersfield, ini mestilah time Premier League lah, hipster ni kan. No, not really at all. I've been following them when they were in League One.
Till today lah.
Till today.
Okay.
Nice. I know how that feel because sama lah when I was in New York. Take Red Bulls menang 4-1. That was style lah. Okay, so that one football. What were other sports? Any international sports? Like you did mention earlier, basketball.
Well, growing up, of course, we know about the Chicago Bulls and all that lah. But the team that I started to support in the NBA is the team called San Antonio Spurs. Yeah. That's my team lah, basically.
Nice. Why? I mean, like you did mention about Huddersfield, about how you got into
Okay, San Antonio Spurs, because when I started following the NBA seriously was during the 2002-2003 season. And they had this player called Manu Ginobili. I was in love with that guy. And they also had this guy called Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. I realized, man, you had an Argentine baller, you have a French baller, you have a US Virgin Island baller, and it's in a US NBA franchise. This must be something never happened before. Because all the time kalau tengok NBA team, definitely the main superstar is always an American player.
Correct.
But this is like full of international players. It's a roster that is filled with international players from overseas. I feel I can relate to this team. And that year they won the NBA title. And the most importantly, because during that run, I had a very bad breakup.
Okay.
Was going through a bit of tough time. So when I was at home watching one of the game when they beat the Dallas Maverick, it really rejuvenated me. And I started following them ever since.
Power of sports too.
Yeah. And that's the best thing about the San Antonio Spurs, because if you look back at all their championship winning team, it's full of international players. It's not really like a typical American team. You got players from all over the world.
Okay. Yes, you ada banyak. Okay, kita dah tahu you support club apa in football and everything and NBA. Ada tak any other sports yang you tak tahu lagi, you don't know and you want to learn about it?
Oh yeah, good question. Yeah.
Okay. For me, I'm always been a team sport guy lah.
Okay.
So maybe the one last team sport. I mean, of course, as I mentioned earlier, watching Sport Time, I've watched every single team sport I could watch. But maybe the one last team sport that I've yet to go fully is water polo lah.
Oh,
Water polo style.
So maybe that's an avenue can try to explore.
we'll bring a water polo guys.
But for future episode, what I can suggest to you guys is, I think one of the sports that we should talk about is basketball.
Basketball.
Because I think there's still a perception or a stereotype that it's a Chinese-based sport. I think we need to debunk that.
Yeah.
Because I truly feel it is not.
In this country.
In this country.
I agree because because I do have friends who are from asrama penuh. You know, your elite, your so-called elite schools, you know, VI, Makoba, St. John's, apa semua. They do have like their annual alumni competitions, and their basketball teams actually is not bad.
Right, next question. Favorite athlete, favorite coach?
Okay, favorite athlete. If it's football, Maradona and Messi. If it's non-football, Tom Brady.
Cool, yeah.
Roger Federer.
Oh yes.
And Michael Jordan.
Legend. Coach.
So as a football coach, I would go for Johan Cruyff and Marcelo Bielsa.
Not Maradona.
Maradona as a coach, bro. He's more of a hybrid entertainer coach, come like that lah. You know, so if you want a situation not to be taken seriously, then you can put him as a coach lah.
Yeah, I still remember there was one training session he had like pillows apa benda kan. Masa 2010 punya South Africa kan.
Dia 2010 ke 2006 lah?
2010.
Oh, 2010.
2010 ni lagi. That one tu kan, sorry lah, because that time tu I was supporting Germany lah.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay, bro.
I think dia memang sebagai Argentina fan yang mula from 1986 tu, memang 360 lah untuk seorang Argentinian fan. Dia tengok Maradona, And then 2006, you said you watched. That's how you got started with everything. That's where Lionel Messi started. And then with Maradona jadi coach, sampailah ke Messi menang World Cup. Yeah. So maybe I don't know about you, but to me, kalau fikir, because of that, you are who you are today. Actually, don't you think so?
Oh yeah, good. Yeah.
Well, in a way, yes. In a way, yes. And I also need to say this: social media played a huge part. Huge part in. I don't think I would be sitting here talking to you guys if it's not for social media.
Huge part of becoming an Argentina fan, right?
Not just an Argentina fan, as the guy that I am, lah, basically, who can talk about football, can try to talk about any other sports, can sembang about a lot of things.
You cakap you jerit kau bila Huddersfield ni kan, share lah dengan orang-orang, because how was the feeling bila Argentina menang World Cup hari tu?
Oh boy. It was, I mean, honestly, it was nerve-wracking lah.
Yes.
Nerve-wracking.
Saya France supporter actually.
I feel sorry for you, bro.
Yeah.
Next time lah.
Okay.
But to me, it's definitely right up there among the best ever football game ever lah.
Yes, it was.
I mean, I think for me personally, I would say it's the best game ever lah.
It was actually.
And frankly speaking, it's a bit hard for me to choose somehow like trying to watch a game without not putting that game as my benchmark.
Kan?
It's so difficult. It's
is.
so difficult.
Susah.
But I also need to accept the fact that that's one of a kind. It's not going to be touched again. So let other games play on its own and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Wow. When
Getting goosebumps.
Gonzalo Montiel, when he struck the winning penalty, you got to remember that myself and the two guys from the Bola Bola show, we are all lifelong Argentina fans. That's one of the things that bond us together. First thing, Bala came and grabbed me and hugged me. He came and grabbed me and hugged me.
Dia pun dah nak sebab
Tears started flowing, and then one of our other co-hosts who is based in Taiwan right now.
Okay.
We WhatsApp video call him. I mean, it was emotionally drenched lah, basically.
Yes.
I mean, I remember telling this to my wife. Ever since I met you, I met you in 2016. Huddersfield Town gets promoted to the Premier League in 2017. We get married in 2020. Argentina wins the Copa America in 2021, and now they're winning the World Cup. So what's next?
Life's going good.
Very good.
Is there any... Okay, kita pergi ke next question. Kita lari sikit tadi kan. But
we want to know.
Kita nak tahu lah. It's a very nice story. Sebab dia Argentina fan, and dia macam kata dia kawan dengan Buenos Aires Mega and everything. Yeah. So that was one question.
Wait, hold on. Before that, how was your friend's reaction from Argentina?
I mean, when I WhatsApped to him, he replied me back because he took his two sons.
Oh.
His two kids. They were in the streets of Buenos Aires. They were among the three of them were among the 5 million people who were on the streets that day celebrating.
Must be something though.
Lain macam lah. Jadi Argentina fan. Good time to be an Argentina fan lah actually.
Betul.
Okay. Ada tak any favourite fictional sporting character?
Wow. I don't know whether you guys know this. Rick the Wild Thing Vaughn from the movie Major League Baseball. Yeah. So he's one of my favourite character. And of course, Mr. Gordon Bombay from the Mikey Ducks. And then Santiago Munez.
Sometimes aku, sebab Santiago Munez ni, aku tak bola pun aku pusing kat bola tu. Dia seorang buat yang tu.
I think a lot of people don't realise how... I mean, I know it's...
How impactful that movie is actually.
I know in terms of the storyline, it's very weak. It can be a little bit cringy, that movie is. But, honestly, from a footballing fan, it's one of the best movies made lah, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Betul-betul. I have kenal orang yang macam tengok movie tu, lepas tu sokong ni rasa ada je.
Oh, biasa.
Alright, is there any quotes or saying that you have with you?
Okay, plenty actually. If I were to say from a humorous perspective lah, Michael Jordan, personal. If you watch the series, Last Dance,
Last Dance.
he takes it. I mean, in a funny way lah. That got me personal. it became personal to me.
Yeah.
It became a meme, kan?
Yeah. But seriously, I mean, there's one lah. Basically, it's from the San Antonio Spurs coach himself, Greg Popovich. Okay. It's not about one person. You got to get over yourself and realize that it takes a group to get things done. So it's true because if you look at how he molded the San Antonio Spurs team, into a winning championship, it's never been about individual. More often than ever, when you look back at NBA, historically Magic Johnson, Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, it's always been the individual. But with Spurs, more often than ever, even though yes, you had some all-star players, but it's always been the team that gets the job done.
Aduh, dia cakap Spurs tu macam ni sikit. Dia kena cakap San Antonio Spurs, baru aku macam sedap sikit lah.
Oh yes. Aku banyak kali dah bila aku cerita Spurs, orang ingat aku Tottenham Hotspur punya fan. I said no.
Kepada semua, dia bukan Spurs fan. So dia dijemput ke sini. Alright, kita bagilah the last time the space for you to promote your podcast, your show, your Bola Bola show, or promote anything. Apa you want to promote je lah.
Okay, I mean, do give us a follow. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, and
It's called X now.
oh yeah, it's called X now. Just one X, huh? I mean, basically, we are Instagram as well. It's the Bola Bola show. You can just Google it, and definitely you will find us there. Yeah, give us a follow. Listen to any of our previous episode. Watch our previous vlogs. Yeah, just subscribe to our channel. Just the support will be appreciated so much. Yeah.
Alright, kita boleh wrap up the show.
Alright, Arief,
Thank
take it
you
home.
everybody for listening sampai ke penghujung. Thank you penonton yang dapat tengok sampai hujung. Also thank you to Mr. Sivan John from the Bola Bola show.
My pleasure, guys.
Sebab datang and sembang, because kita first time kita ajak orang, boleh kata one podcaster to another podcaster, then dia share the experience.
Rapat staff.
Macam mana and everything. So kita kiranya kita macam bukan macam rival, kita macam buddy-buddy lah kan. Kita tak ada nak rival.
There's no rival, there's only friends.
Kita just nak tahu more. And yeah, to you guys also, if you guys want to know more about different types of sports, do let us know. Any other things dalam bola sepak pasal benda lain pun also let us know. Do follow us also, bettercallsukan on all platforms. Twitter, X, TikTok, apa semualah, Instagram and everything. So I think that is it. We can wrap up the show, kan, Khal?
Yep. Take it home, Arief.
Yes, thank you everybody for listening. My name is Arief Daniel.
I'm Khal.
I'm Sivan John.
And see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Audio Plus.